Most people believe connection is something that happens naturally. Two strangers meet, they talk, they laugh, and somehow they just click. Feels magical, like fate, like you've known each other for years even though you met 20 minutes ago. But what if that feeling wasn't natural at all? What if someone could manufacture that connection on command, without you noticing a single thing? Welcome to DarkMind Academy, the place where we expose the psychological games most people never realize are being played on them. And today, we're dissecting one of the quietest manipulation tactics ever created. A tactic so subtle that it rarely triggers suspicion. A tactic used in dating, sales, politics, therapy, networking, and even friendships. And the most dangerous part? When it's used on you, it doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like chemistry, the strange moment everyone has experienced. Think back to a time you met someone and the conversation felt almost too perfect. You sat down, and within minutes, they laughed at the same moments you did. They seemed to understand everything you said. Their energy matched yours perfectly. You felt comfortable faster than usual. Maybe you even said something like, "Wow, it feels like we've known each other forever." And they smiled and said the same thing. But what if that comfort wasn't genuine connection? What if it was engineering? Because behind many of those interactions lies a psychological technique that influence experts have studied for decades. A technique built on a simple principle. People trust those who seem like them. And once that trust appears, defenses disappear. The invisible influence strategy. The tactic is called mirroring, sometimes referred to as the chameleon effect. At its simplest, mirroring means copying another person's behavior. But when used deliberately, it becomes something far more powerful. A skilled manipulator will subtly replicate things like posture, gestures, tone of voice, speech speed, breathing rhythm, word choice, emotional intensity. The copying is usually delayed by a few seconds so it doesn't look obvious. And because humans are wired to detect similarity as safety, the brain begins forming trust automatically. You don't consciously notice it, but your subconscious mind does. And it interprets the signals as, "This person is like me." Why the brain falls for it? Human beings evolved in tribes. Thousands of years ago, similarity meant survival. People who spoke the same way, moved the same way, and behaved similarly were probably part of the same group. And members of your group were less likely to harm you. So your brain developed a shortcut. When someone seems similar, the brain releases chemicals associated with comfort and trust. This is why friends often naturally begin mirroring each other without realizing it. But manipulators discovered something disturbing. If you imitate someone intentionally, you can create that same sense of connection much faster. Sometimes within minutes. The moment rapport is manufactured. Here's how it typically looks in real life. You lean forward while talking. A few seconds later, they lean forward too. You cross your arms. Moments later, they do the same. You speak slowly and calmly. Suddenly, they slow their speech as well. Nothing feels strange. In fact, it feels pleasantly synchronized. Your brain interprets the interaction as smooth, comfortable, natural. But behind the scenes, something else is happening. The manipulator is lowering your guard. Where this trick shows up most. You may think this technique belongs to psychology textbooks, but it's everywhere. Especially today. Dating. In modern dating culture, mirroring is one of the fastest ways to create instant attraction. Someone copies your laugh, matches your texting style, uses the same slang, and suddenly it feels like you've found someone who truly understands you. But sometimes that connection is simply observation followed by imitation. Sales. High-level sales training often teaches mirroring as a rapport-building technique. A salesperson may match your posture, adopt your tone of voice, even repeat your exact phrases back to you. The goal is simple: make the client feel understood. And when people feel understood, they buy more easily. Workplace politics. Mirroring can also appear in professional environments. Employees mirror their boss's communication style to gain favor. Managers mirror employees to build loyalty. Conversations feel aligned. Agreements happen faster, but the connection may not be genuine. It may simply be strategic. Social influence. Influencers and charismatic leaders sometimes mirror their audience's language and emotions. They reflect the audience's frustrations, their humor, their values. The audience feels represented. But the relationship might be far more calculated than it appears. The subtle signals of mirroring. Because the technique works through imitation, there are patterns you can learn to recognize. For example, the person begins using your exact slang or phrases shortly after you say them. Their body posture begins matching yours repeatedly. You cross your legs. They cross theirs. You touch your face. Seconds later, they do the same. Their speaking pace begins shifting toward yours. And perhaps the most noticeable signal, the interaction feels strangely smooth very quickly, almost like the conversation skipped the normal awkward phase. That doesn't always mean manipulation, but it can be a clue. Why manipulators love this technique. Many darker influence tactics involve pressure, fear, guilt, or intimidation. Mirroring is different. It doesn't attack the mind directly. Instead, creates comfort. And comfort makes people open up. They share more personal information. They trust faster. They make decisions without analyzing the situation deeply, which is exactly what manipulators want. When mirroring is harmless, it's important to understand something. Not all mirroring is malicious. In healthy relationships, people naturally begin syncing with each other over time. Friends who spend years together often develop similar speech patterns. Couples sometimes adopt the same gestures. That kind of mirroring grows slowly, and it happens unconsciously. Manipulative mirroring is different. It appears very quickly, and it happens with strategic precision. The emotional trap, the real danger isn't the copying itself. The danger is the feeling it creates. When someone mirrors you successfully, the interaction can feel unusually meaningful. You might think, they really understand me. We're so similar. I feel comfortable with them already. But if that comfort appears too fast, it's worth pausing. Real connection usually takes time. It develops through shared experiences and consistent behavior, not instant synchronization. How to test the situation. If you ever suspect someone may be mirroring you deliberately, there's a simple test. Change your behavior suddenly. Shift your posture. Slow your speech. Or lean back dramatically. Then watch what happens. If the person adjusts their behavior to match you again within moments, that may reveal the pattern. It doesn't automatically mean manipulation, but it does tell you they are closely tracking your behavior. The most important rule: connection is powerful. Humans crave it. We want to feel understood, seen, accepted, and that desire is exactly why mirroring works so well. But genuine connection doesn't require imitation. It requires consistency. Someone who truly values you will show the same character over time, not just reflect whatever you display in the moment. The final truth. In a world where psychological influence tactics are becoming more widely known, the most powerful defense is simple awareness. The next time you meet someone and the interaction feels perfectly synchronized within minutes, pause, observe. Ask yourself whether the connection is developing naturally or being carefully constructed, because sometimes the person sitting across from you isn't revealing who they are. They're simply showing you a reflection of yourself. And reflections can be convincing, but they're not always real. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden psychology behind everyday interactions, subscribe to DarkMind Academy, because the more you understand these psychological tactics, the harder it becomes for anyone to quietly control the conversation. And before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever met someone who felt too similar to you too quickly? Sometimes the most interesting stories begin with that exact moment.